Hi everybody, it is April and I'm in my craft room. And if you've made 100 quilts, this pattern is for you. If you've made one quilt, this video is for you. If you've never made a quilt before, this video is for you. I have a layer cake pattern that comes from Moonkin Stitchery. I have been watching these videos and checking out these patterns for a while. Number one, because they're free. Number two, because a lot of them use pre-cuts. This one is going to use a layer cake. This is my layer cake. I'm going with a black and white and gray theme today. We'll have to see if I'm going to throw in any color. And the name of the pattern is Lazy Days. You know why it's called that? Because I think it's going to be a pretty easy pattern. But I don't think it's too easy if you are a seasoned quilter. And I don't think it's too hard if you've never quilted before. Even if you don't quilt, but you like quilts, you may want to watch this video to see how it turns out. And Claire, thank you for the coffee. I am going to be using this layer cake. Let's cut it open. And it's got the gray, the black, and the white version. Now, the Lazy Days pattern, you can make multiple sizes. And when you go to the link that I'm going to list in the description below, you will find that you can print this out. This size here is the throw size, and I am going to be doing that particular pattern. So for a throw, I need 42 of these 10-inch squares. You do not have to have a layer cake in order to use this pattern. You can use just regular yardage and cut it down the same way. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut across 5 inches. I was at Walmart and I found these pretty scissors and rotary cutter from Pioneer Woman. So I'm going to use this rotary cutter and see how it works. If I can figure it out. There we go. Whew, that was kind of hard. Okay, so far so good. I am using a rotating cutting mat because I need to cut this at 5 inches as well, but lengthwise. I could cut either one at 5 inches and we would be good. And there you have your block. Let me finish cutting the rest of the squares and I will be back. I want to share a little something with you about layer cakes that have had what look like pinking shears used to cut them. If you put the edge of your layer cake on a ruler right here, you are going to see that it is going to go a little bit past that 10 inches. So what I do is I kind of center it in between so that there's a little hanging off the 10 and a little hanging off the 0. And that way I get an even cut. I believe that where you should start measuring is inside the teeth of the edge of the fabric. And this way, you're more likely to get an even cut. I am not a very neat stacker. I want to mix these blocks up because this is essentially my block. So I am going to take these top 2 and put them underneath, and then take even more from that one and put it on top, And hopefully that will give me a mix up. If I do run across two that are the same, then I'll just take one off the top, put it underneath, and go on. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to chain piece these two squares together. So I've put up the 3 blocks that I've done. That's a whole lot of black and white and gray. So I believe what I'm going to do is throw in a splash of color. My first thought is to go with red. Well, because you know, red's my favorite color. Purple would look good. Yellow would look good. Blue would look good. Pink would look good. I think I'm still gonna go with the red. So I'm going to cut up some 5 by 5 inch squares of red. Not a lot. I just want a pop of color here and there. I don't want it to take over. So I have 42 blocks, 6 across, 7 rows down. So do I want a pop of color in every row? That would be 7. I'll probably cut out 7 squares and then see how it goes. And what I'll do is I'll get everything up on the design wall. Debbie Dobbins, I know you're saying, why do you even bother putting it up on the design wall? Because it never ends up looking like that. Well, it could if I, was really worried about it. But if I want to see what it looks like. So regardless of whether or not it's going to look like that when I'm done, I want to see, what it could have looked like. Let me sew all my blocks together, and then we will meet back at the design wall to see what the pop of color adds. On your 2 5-inch squares that are going to be sewn together, don't worry about it if they're not perfect. You've got a straight edge on at least one side. You have zigzag edges, and you might not have sheer perfection. See, this isn't exactly perfect. It's okay. If you look at this one, you can tell that when I cut the 2 in half, you can see how this comes out further. It's okay. We are going to cut these all down to 9.5 inch squares. So here I've got this hanging over. Don't worry about it. Keep on sewing, create your patches, and I'll show you how to cut them down. Now what I'll do is I will cut these apart and I will press them. And then I chain piece, adding this 5 by 10 inch rectangle to my 2 patch. And I chain piece those. So then I don't ever have to break thread, and it moves just like that. Then I will press these and I come up with my square. Now none of these are going to be right. You've got this hanging out. These may not be perfect either, and that's okay because we're going to trim everything down to a 9.5 inch block. I found that using my 9.5 inch square was the easiest way to get a true 9.5 inch block. But this is how I got my 9.5 inch block. Here it is. All of my blocks are at 9.5 inches, I hope. And I just put them up on the wall. Now the red ones, I tried to strategically place one block with the red in each row, and I tried to put them so that they're just a pop of color here and there. This looks even better than I thought it was going to. Now because I have strategically placed my red, or my blocks with the red in it, I want to make sure that this particular quilt actually gets sewn like it is up on the wall. So Dee had an idea that I'd just use an air marker or an air pen or water soluble, whichever, and write which block this is. So like I can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That way I can look at the number and make sure that I am sewing them in the right order. So let's see if that helps. I've taken a picture of before I put the row together, and then when we're done, I'll take another picture and we can do a before and after compare and see how close I came. I'm going to sew them together and I will be back and you will see my finished quilt top. My quilt top is complete. I am just so pleased with the way that it turned out. I didn't worry about matching any seams because when I trimmed my blocks to 9.5 inches, I didn't worry about where the center of the block was. I just made sure that my block was 9.5 inches. So there are some seams that maybe might have matched had I been more precise in my cutting, but I didn't worry about it. And I really don't think it's going to make any difference. This is another one of those quilts that you could do over and over and over again and it would never turn out the same. I am really happy that I added that little splash of color because it just kind of gave a little pop to the whole thing. So next I'm going to quilt it, and I believe when I bind it, I'm going to use a grunge black binding. Thank you for watching. I do really appreciate you taking the time to watch my channel. I know that your time is valuable, and the fact that you spend some time with me makes me feel really good. Have a great day, eat some chocolate, and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. Say hi, Maxine. Maxine! Oh, she's... Oh, nope, no hi. No hi from Maxine. Really? Oh, you're getting nasty. You know why it's called that? Because... blah, 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 blah. Every here and there. To get my... Wow.